Hello, hello, hello. This is my first YouTube video, and I'm going to do a little bit of a hot take on the new Hunger Games movie, Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes. It is, the hot take is if it was not for three defining women in Coriolanus's life growing up and the events in the movie, that he would not have turned out to be as heartless and cold as what we see him in the original trilogy of the Hunger Games. And I will say that, like, by no means is he a good person to start out with, but I don't think he would have been as bad as what he would have been. And these three defining, like, people in his life were his grandma, who raised him, uh, the lead game maker, or the head game maker, who had said at the end of the movie that like he passed all her tests. So I mean, he was like, we'll get into it. And then Lucy Gray herself. Um, so first I'll talk about his grandma. His grandma, uh, like raised him and did have preconceived notions about the districts and stuff and the uprising because she was obviously through the dark days and the whole war and stuff. And her son did die to a rebel attack in the districts, which shaped her into the way that she like shaped her grandson and to live up to his father's expectations and to make him proud. And we see in the movie where she's like their districts and like the way she talked about them that she would have like made it to where like he seemed better than them. And but we see that throughout the whole district. So I mean that's or throughout the whole capital, I should say. So that's not like the biggest issue um with her. Like that's just like she raised him, so at the same time it was very much she very much influenced his perspective of the districts and his role in the capital. um Now for the head game maker, we see that like she is all in to like keeping the games, and we see the experiments that she's doing and the uh lengths she's willing to go to keep the games. So and we see after he goes into like the cage and stuff or in the zoo and kind of makes a spectacle out of uh his tribute Lucy Gray and stuff, that she is, like she said, tested him and that he passed all the tests. So the tests were like her way of influencing him to keep the games going, like because he had influences in his life, like his best friend who was from the districts and stuff, who thought that the games were barbaric and was not something that should keep on going. And really, I don't think if she would have been there, I think that if she wouldn't have been there, I should say, that he would not have been uh like I don't know how to say it, like I just don't think that the games would have kept on going on because for one, he would have never came up with the ideas to make it like this big spectacle. of the games and to keep it going. But at the same time, like also working against him and in the head game maker's favor to bring him on board with like keeping the games and stuff was the dean, and the fact that he had this grudge against him. So I think like and we know like from the movie that the dean did not want the games to continue and that he was working to get rid of them. Um, and I think that the combination of the lead game maker testing him and showing him like quote unquote the real world and like how the districts really were, that I think he would have ultimately sided like with his friend that they were barbaric and uh, that they needed to be stopped. So like she was kind of conditioning him and like grooming him to be this worse of a person. Um, so like if she was not in his life, I don't think he would have been like near as bad as what he was in the original trilogies. Now, for Lucy Gray, I'll start off by saying Snow used her to try to win the prize money, and obviously she went along with it because she wanted to live from the games. I mean, if you're going into the Hunger Games, you want to win. Um, but at the same time, at the end of the movie, and some spoilers here, so like you do not want to. If you haven't watched the movie and stuff, I would quit watching. Uh, I think that it is her direct actions that caused him to have like a break uh, mentally and to go off and like ultimately betray her um, by like with the gun and stuff like that. But in the movies, Lucy says that if you can't trust me, we don't have anything. And we see that in the movie at the end, Coriolanus was like trusted her to keep the secret of what had happened. And she made it, I mean, he literally said when they found the guns, there is there's no more loose ends. And then Lucy Gray was like, except for me, which if you trusted this person and you said like, yeah, you really do trust this person, and they're saying stuff like that, or then she's gonna go pick, you know, the roots and the pouring rain. And he mentions like, it's still raining outside, and she says, well, I'm not made of sugar. Like all of these things that she's saying at the end of this is putting doubt in his mind that like you can trust her. And you see that as he's getting ready to get rid of the guns and she's nowhere to be found. And then he finds her his mother's scarf and stuff, or throw whatever it was, uh, on the ground, and when he picks it up a snake bites him. I mean, did she put the snake there? Did And he hollers out, "Are you trying to kill me?" Like more than once. And like there was no answer. And he says that if something happened, we can talk this out. And nothing. Like we just see her running and he shoots. Did he score? Well, we don't seem to know where those footprints went. So, um, but I think that like she is the direct reason why he had a psychotic break basically, and ending up like shooting at her, and then the birds at the end, like there was all of this stuff mentally happening to him, and I think it just caused him to, like snap. And so in a way, like she is the reason why we have the snow that we see in the original trilogies. Um Along with like his grandmother who had preconceived notions about the districts and stuff, and the head game maker being like as sadistic and like basically a mad scientist as she was, um, influencing him. And but yeah, by no means is he a good person. And like I said, he did have positive uh, influences in his life. His cousin Tigress is like, I knew your father and what I can remember about him and stuff, and you can choose to be a good person, which he obviously didn't. Um, his best friend from school who believed that it was the games were barbaric and stuff like that, who tried to help the rebels, and he ended up hanging because of Coriolanus's fear of dying before he gets back to his family. Um, and then the dean, I think if the dean would have like instead of actively working against the Snow family and would have like taken him under his wing and something like stuff like that, that they would have um been able to end the games instead of making it into a big spectacle. So that is my hot take on that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and remember that you're amazing, you're beautiful, and yeah, have a good day.